Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm Mike Schumann, and this is our core fellowship. We're going to start today's recording a little bit differently than we normally do. We've done our informal check-in already, and now we're just going to do a quick formal check-in because I would like us all to kind of introduce ourselves and just, let us know where you're at today. Here in the United States, we've had a very tumultuous week, to say the least. And I want to say a little bit something about that in my focus check-in. But when we start this check-in, just say your name, how you're feeling, and anything you want to check in with. So again, my name is Mike Schumann. I'm feeling mostly gratitude and joy. This core fellowship, the four of us, really brings me back to a place of balance and a place of optimism and foresight. I'm processing a lot of anger and fear from this week, based on the events that happened at our Capitol. And I just, I'm processing this feeling of, everybody on both sides of the polarity really just wanting to fight and really want a war. And I'm at peace and just saying, okay, have at it. We're going to do our thing. We're just going to radiate that peace that you had said earlier in our informal check-in, Marta. And, we're just going to be here. We're just going to be here doing our thing. And with that, I'm in. And that's my focus check-in.
Yeah, I'll go after that. It's so fresh for me too. And I did this little process yesterday that got me focused, but I feel like I'm in that still point, the eye of the storm, so to speak. And also processing a lot of anger, feeling it in my body really, and noticing that it might not all be mine, that there might be this collective sort of energy that people are all dealing with from again what happened here in the U.S. this week. And what I was returned to was something very simple that my teacher Elizabeth Wilcock has taught me in the last couple of years, and it's this path or this way of the lotus, which is really about radiating. She says it like radiating beauty and truth from the stinking mud. And it's really the biggest quality of the lotus is that it can remain in that still point and simply transmit and radiate and be a blessing to others, and having this magnetic shifting to this kind of magnetic force where people are being called to or attracted to that rather than running out there trying to force something or change that person's idea. Or so just holding your stance, so to speak, and allowing to transmit and radiate and having people be attracted to that. So I'm feeling very grateful, thankful, and blessed, and counting my blessings. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for the moment.
Yes.
And I'm Marta Reese, by the way. I know you said introduce yourself.
Yes, please introduce yourself. Yeah, because I think my feeling is that a lot of people, when they come to our material, this might be the first, the first interaction that they have with us is what my intuition is telling me. So yes, please, please introduce yourself.
Marta Reese in Philadelphia. Thank you.
I'm Parmjit Nahil from England, and yes, I feel very similarly that I've shared a lot of views and hopes that I ended last year with, and I'm bringing in a new level of commitment, which includes, that view that, stop trying to change things that aren't ready to change, or people that aren't at that stage. And it's about finding the people who, are at that place that they might not be in exactly the same place as you are, but the desire is there, the intention is there, and to just find who they are and see how we can work together. And I feel hopeful now, actually, that because we've been holding our intention for quite a while, it's got to kind of go through different iterations and maybe become more refined. And so I think everything's well with the world. It's like things that are happening are the things that need to be happening. Let's go with it.
Great, thank you, Parmjit.
Good morning, good morning. I'm Nefertiti Rosa, Nefertiti from New Jersey. Thank you, Michael, Marta, Parmjit. This is Leo, my little lion. I'm in New Jersey, United States, and yes, definitely feeling the emotions. Walking into this year with a whole new set of sets. Something I wanted to share. Today is a new moon cycle, galactically speaking. It's also a new year, obviously, here, 2021. But it's a resonance month, and all polarity is resolved in resonance. And I'm very into vibrational healing and the balancing of what's out there in here and everywhere. I'm looking very forward to exploring more with all of you and working through the process together. So thank you.
Thank you, Nefertiti. Okay, so I made a PowerPoint presentation that I did a test run with making a recording by myself. It's called the 5-year plan. And it took me an hour and a half just to go through that material by myself. So what that tells me is I'm going to back off of that. I'm just going to focus kind of like on the overview and also on what I'm focused on this year, and that is fellowship. So, you know, I have a lot of ideas. Obviously, you know that I have a lot of what did you say, Marta? I have a lot of certainty, which I'm trying to back away from and get back to clarity. So I'm going to share the 5-year plan, but we're really just going to focus on what I'm going to be personally focused on this year, and that is fellowship. You know, what makes a fellowship? What makes us feel embraced in that fellowship? What makes us feel successful within a fellowship? And that's really going to be the core focus of today. So I'd like everyone to kind of just take a moment, breathe in, be with what you just shared in your check-in. And I really would like to explore some of these slides, you know, just through that perspective of the check-in as we're, you know, starting out this year, and you know, kind of emotionally, spiritually navigating, you know, what's going on, in our media, what's going on in the collective, what's going on with, you know, people we disagree with. So just going to take a moment, be with that, and I'll pull up my screen here. And I would like to just go through this one slide at a time and just check in with everybody after each slide. So this is the 5-year plan, and always subject to change. It's always a process. So first slide here after that is an hourglass, which I'm going to try to click on again. Here we go. An hourglass where I've done my best to really come up with a mission statement, and this is always changing. So I can see where this would be a very heady stuff coming out, but I'd like to hear what each of your reaction or each of your response is to this mission statement. So our mission statement of the Virtual Services Time Bank is to establish an equal partnership economy, or also known as a regenerative economy, by observing innovative accounting practices within this current extractive economy. So that's the mission. It's just to do things a little bit differently, to count for people's time and monetary capital differently. My personal mission, you know, through fellowship, is to help others understand, who are ready to understand it, what I see as the 3 pillars of stability, socioeconomic stability. One is fellowship, which is why we're here today. Without fellowship, Nothing else happens. Time banking, and we'll go through a little bit more about what time banking means to me and what time banking might mean to you. And reverse market mechanics, which we're not really going to get into a lot of today because that's my heady stuff, that we need fellowship as the foundation to even begin to start to understand. And I'm starting to embrace that now. And I'm starting to embrace that, you know, maybe people see me as a little bit crazy and a little bit out there, and I'm good with that. I'm okay. So, so I just want to acknowledge how I'm separating what I see as the virtual services time bank and what I see as the Karmic Margin Call Project. The virtual services time bank is the mission, is helping people just understand what it takes to create equal partnerships within what I see in a world where energy is being extracted, resources are being extracted. So that's my version of the mission statement. And I'd like to hear what feelings or thoughts come up from each of you briefly, and we'll move on after that. So.
For me, what speaks the loudest is this hourglass, because I've been working with this perception or sensation of time through either Chronos or Kairos, and experiencing both, and either looking to blend something or being more conscious about where I place my attention. And I think this is consistent with time banking, because time banking and that concept or that whole system allows for me to spend more time in Kairos and focusing on Kairos time, and, you know, having that and elevating that quality of time that I spend with others, whether it's a fellowship or family or friends or individual conversations with people.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So my feeling, I'm not sure if I'm answering the question or not, but my feeling is that if we focus on the broad area of well-being, empathy, kind of where are you, getting people to acknowledge that, I think that's the stage that needs to be focused on for us as a group before we launch into the, okay, we're all about you guys doing stuff in your Kairos time, because I think we need to introduce that foundation of you're okay, who you are, where you are. That's my...
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is, you know, how do we bring it back to where are you at right now? And where are you at right now?
I'm at an optimistic place where I'm happy with the links, that the connections that I've made, that they are going to help support my purpose, which is around being more systematic about what we do in terms of social change. So the kind of focus areas that I'm particularly going to concentrate on are, how do we introduce empathy and ways of meeting and interacting that honour and build up the people within the group or the pairing or the circle, and how do we, I mean, it's kind of what your mission is, but it's like, how do I translate that into my community?
Yes.
And how do we find the places, the organizations that have the techniques and tools? Because I'm finding that, like before, we used to say things like, oh, meditation's good, and, you know, we had a very broad sense of what was kind of good. We didn't really know the details of it. Like, we couldn't focus in and see what the mechanics were of that, but we are, putting that together in a way that many different people see the same kind of mechanics and structure to that. So it's like a body of knowledge is being formed. It's not just, oh, it's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
So it's something about how do we all support each other to say this is the thing, and this is how it looks, and these are the levels, and and I feel that kind of thing is going to be like a central part of it, because without that, the other kind of bits are not really going to fall into place. They might do for a while, but they're not going to, you're not going to be able to build on it and get anywhere.
I agree. Completely agree. Thank you. Nefertiti, what comes up for you?
I like the observation piece. You're observing.
Yeah.
And that's what I caught. That's what really resonated, because I find that helps to what Parnjit shared, find out where we are here and now, and then the practical application piece.
Yes. Very good. Great. Thank you. All right. So we'll go back to the share. All right. So I'm processing a lot now too, because yes, that comes back to what fellowship means to me, getting back to each individual's, where each individual really is at. And, the reason why I've created a PowerPoint and a business plan was to start exploring how to practically and systematically, bring about this experience, of fellowship to affect the economy. So, or I should say, our experience with what we think of as the economy. So these are the three pillars that I've been exploring, and again, this is just my process that I'm sharing. Fellowship increases what I think of as social capital, and thinking in terms of what's been happening this week on media, social media. I really feel like social media that's run by a business enterprise, is extractive in the sense that we keep getting caught up, or I've been observing people getting caught up in these discussions about who is right rather than what is right. So I see that as kind of like a decrease in social capital. Fellowship, where we're all kind of contributing, all practicing those collaborative principles, Marta, with generous listening and committed speaking, we start to raise our social capital. We start to see and nurture the value in each other. So that's why I see that as a pillar, as something that really holds this up, is that we increase each other's social capital through this, through this idea of fellowship, through this idea of mutuality. What time banking means to me personally is that one person's hour is equal to anybody else's hour, regardless of your socioeconomic status in this extractive system. What that means to me is that everybody does have value, and a regenerative economy, an equal partnership economy, places emphasis on helping each other see what that value is. Getting back to the conversations of what is right rather than who is right. And reverse market mechanics, this is something that's probably going to be more down the road this year that we'll talk about. Not that I'm not mindful of it, but I really just want to focus on fellowship. But it's this idea of what I'm starting to think of as the 2x2 trend, where when you focus on where you're at, focusing on service, who is in front of you, what are their needs, what is their value, one will become two. I kind of think of Marta and I, we've been working at this off and on sort of for 15 years. The friendship and the partnership that we've developed, we've attracted this fellowship of, very valuable people, very valuable content, and, Nefertiti and Parmjit, now we're four. Nefertiti, your efforts this week, with with our Wizard of Iz cast, and with some of the friends that you've been interacting at. Nefertiti attracted four more time banking members this week. So now we're 8. So that's the 2x2 trend, where we measure what it is that each individual needs in order to double the entire effort. And that comes back to the individual. So that's what reverse market mechanics is starting to mean to me. So I'm going to leave it at that right now, because I really just want to leave this slide with the impression that 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, through really being focused on what each individual needs and providing the space to provide that. So I'll open it up if anyone wants to offer a response, a feeling, a thought, in just kind of being with these 3 pillars as I think of them.
So in practice, I don't see it as like, because like Nefertiti's come up with 4 all of a sudden after a long period of nothing much happening. So it's not like a standardized, nice kind of, you spread the butter evenly,
And it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
I think it's like a question of just being open and not getting too disheartened if we have long periods of where nothing seems to be happening, because underneath, even when nothing seems to be happening, things are happening, and then suddenly you'll see something on the edge.
Absolutely. And I think it comes back to, what relationships are continuing to deepen. And it's not so much what do we need, or what does, the Karmic Margin Call Project needs. What do you need? What does the person in front of you really need? And, that comes back to fellowship. And that's why I think fellowship is more important than expansion, or trying to lay out this business plan. It's just about, who are you, and what are we together, and what are we looking for, and how can we help each other find that? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I said I'd like that because it's something that I'm working with right now as a shift in my own life. And I've mentioned it to you, Mike, as like closing not just a chapter in a book, but closing a whole entire book and starting a new one and a new chapter. And so for me, it's really, it is about fellowship and about friends and family. And then this, what I'm starting to term as a vital community wealth. And it's not just, monetary wealth, but really the gifts that we are, that we want to bring forward. And then in a very real sense, working with those gifts and that the wealth of resource within my own family, and then out from there, my inner circle of friends. And it's really about creating something together, and service to others. And to others, it will be, all those different family members. And in a very real sense, for me, it'll be supporting my family in Portugal, making that move to go to a different country, and with a very distinct intention and focus. Oh, I love that, Nefertiti. Sorry, I just got so distracted by the shiny lights. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, what I saw in that. And that Parthenon represents for me this kind of also bringing to bear some ancient knowledge, because I'm really curious about, what my own family is going to teach me from that perspective of how long Portugal's been a country, and the history, the resources and things like that. So it's still, again, there's nothing certain. It's all just becoming more clear as to, where I want to practice fellowship and with whom. And so, yeah, so thank you for that.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Could I chime in real quick before I go and hit my electric switch?
Sure.
The thing that I'm hearing again and again with everyone sharing and their space, just us getting together every 2 weeks, and then, working with where we were, I guess it's been almost like 6 months or so now.
Yes.
And then, being with those people in my life and then having the space with them, like, so what is going on? And then I had to continue to ask myself, what's going on with me? So it's like starting with me and giving myself that space, and then kind of, and something you said just now, Mart, about circle. I feel like it circulates, like what I'm giving myself, I can then give to others, and then it continues. Like, so yeah, go fix my light. Thank you.